Good morning, everyone. It's Sal, Stretford Post. How you're doing? And welcome to another episode of Breaking Dawn, guys. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing fine. Thank you so much for joining me this morning, of course, guys. On this Thursday, this beautiful Thursday, guys. It's absolutely amazing. We're here talking about football. Well, at least we hope we're going to be talking about football. Unfortunately, with the recent comments from our old man, Jim Ratcliffe, we're not going to be entirely talking about football. But I want to put a little bit of sense into this. I want to try and bring a little bit of sense into this if I could possibly can. And I think it's very important that the community get involved in what Jim Ratcliffe said yesterday about immigration, about Manchester United, about him doing well at Man United. And for me, that really stuck in my head. Like, what is this guy on? Is it delusions or grandeur? I don't know what it is at the end of the day. This guy is not well. I'm telling you right now. But guys, before I start, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, smash a like on the video, all that jazz. That'd be absolutely fantastic, guys. Thank you so much, you absolute legends. Now, let me just get into a couple of comments from Jim Ratcliffe last night. So basically, Jim Ratcliffe said that, basically, just get this up. Jim Ratcliffe said, he said a couple of weird things. I've been very unpopular at Manchester United because we've made a lot of changes, but for the better, in my view. Okay. And I think we are beginning to see the evidence in the football club that is beginning to pay off. Now, please tell me, where is the evidence in the football club? Please tell me what evidence. You've sacked multiple people after hiring them months later. Where is the evidence? How many managers you sacked already? 2 managers? You spent 200 odd million on Erik ten Hag and you're talking about things are going well. Are they? Are they really, mate? I would like to think what happened last season when we came 15th, my guy. I like to think, oh, we employed a manager with a distinctive style of play that you didn't back with a distinctive style of football with players, did you? I like to think about that too. I like to think about what's going so well at Manchester United, you absolute bozo. What are you talking about? Every single thing going on at Man United is a negative. There is a reason you are being protested against. Season ticket rises. People having their season tickets taken away from them. Elderly who've been going to Man United for 70 years can't go to games anymore because you're taking away their seat. You know, and this is what we're talking about. You know nothing about the football club if you think that you're doing well at the moment. If you actually think that things are going well at the moment, you are as delusional as your bloody... I don't know. I'm not going to say it. But you know what, guys? It is absolutely ridiculous. Jim Ratcliffe went on to say, but you've got all the same issues with the country. If you really want to deal with the major issues on immigration with people opting to take benefits rather than working for a living, if you want to deal with that, then you are going to do things that are unpopular. Okay. All right. Whatever that means. Number one, he lives in Monaco. He's a tax evader. Right? That is what we're talking about. He goes to Monaco because he knows that the billionaires can profit from that. That's why he's in Monaco. He's not in England. Right? So you're trying to tell me that the people who are fleeing wars, that the UK started, and I'm British, that the UK started are a bigger issue than some tax evading billionaires. Right? Is that what you're talking about? These people, these children, these women and children that have been fleeing wars in countries, that wars that you started. And your biggest problem is them, tax evasion, tax or this or benefits. The billionaires, the corporate billionaires like you who don't even live in England are the problem. You are the problem. Now, guys, I don't want to make this into a political debate because this is a channel of football, okay? This is a football channel, but I don't want to make this too much about immigration because this is not the place for it. You can go to political TV, Parliament TV, whatever you want. This is not a political thing. You can believe in your political beliefs. I believe in my political belief. This is democracy. You can believe in your political belief, right? This is about Manchester United. What does this have to do with Manchester United? All in all, what does this have to do with this football club? Let me tell you guys, and I want you guys to listen to this, right? This is a manipulation tactic to sway the politically driven people to side with Jim Ratcliffe and all those, the politically driven Man United fans who are virtually signaling about Qatar can go on your side because you're being protested against. So this is what's going on at the moment. You're trying to manipulate people who are politically driven to side with you. Right? And so then subconsciously, people are going to be thinking in their head, oh, Jimmy's not a bad guy. Jim's a good guy. Jim's not too bad. He's all right. He is. He believes in what I believe. So I'm going to follow Jim Ratcliffe because he believes in what I believe. You know, this is what it's about, guys. This is what I'm talking about. This is not about political beliefs. Let me just tell you that right now. I'm an Englishman raised by a Pakistani dad with an English-British mother, a white mother born in Wimbledon. Right? Let me just tell you something. My dad is an immigrant. I don't want to make this about immigration because my dad loves Britain. My dad loves the UK. My dad played rugby. You know? I went to England games. I support England. I'm English. But this is not about politics. He is manipulating the masses. He's manipulating people. He's using manipulation tactics. He's playing on the heartstrings again, just like how we got the job as partly owner of Manchester United. This is exactly how we did it. Play on the heartstrings FC. That's what he's doing. He's trying to manipulate the masses to get you back on side by using political manipulation. And that's what he's doing. Forget about your political belief. I don't want to talk about politics too much. He said what he said yesterday, which I find disgraceful, by the way. I find it disgraceful. But he said what he said. Right? I don't want to be talking about that. This situation right here causes so many issues, so many problems, so many people divided and stuff. And we're not a divided community. But what I will say is keep politics out your goddamn mouth and concentrate what's going on at Manchester United. What's going on the pitch at Manchester United? Did you sign anyone in January? I wanted to see Jim Ratcliffe come on the channel right now. I wanted to see him go on TV and talk about Ruben Amorim. He didn't talk about Ruben Amorim. Why are we not talking about Ruben Amorim? You haven't spoken about Ruben Amorim since he was sacked, yet you're doing a good job. Man United are in a better place. You facilitated the Glazers. And by the way, Glazers, right, who have not put a penny into the UK economy, who took Manchester United out on a loan, right, and not paid 1 penny of capital on that loan. And in fact, they've gone up 1.5 billion, right? How many taxpayers will that pay for, eh? Right? They're American Jews, right? They're immigrants, but what are they doing? They're getting the government to pay for a regeneration project, right? That's what they're doing. So let's keep the same energy here. Let's talk about the same energy here. Let's do that. Why don't we do that? Eh? Because it doesn't fit your narrative, does it? It doesn't fit your narrative. But let's put that to one side. Let's put the politics to one side, right? Let's put that to one side. What are you talking about? You're doing a good job. Please explain to me how you're doing a good job, right? And I want to bring this up. I want to talk about what Mark Goldbridge said, right? And he said it right here. He said it right, absolutely right. Right. Let me just say this. So he's doing a good job, apparently. Ratcliffe is doing a good job. Apparently, he's doing an amazing job, of course, guys. An absolutely brilliant job. So let me just get this. If I could get this. If I can find it. Let me see. So basically, he's doing a good job. How many people has he sacked? You know? He's absolutely. Let me just see this. Let me see if I can find it first. See if I can find it. Let me see. So, basically, he's doing this magnificent job at Manchester United. The debt is bigger than it was. He's sacked 2 managers. He's had a director of football that he sacked. He spent 500 million on those 2 managers. He's presided over the worst season in our Premier League history. No January signings, right? When we needed it. No midfielder bought in this summer. We could keep going on. What's successful about what he's doing at the moment? Can please someone explain to me what is successful about what he's doing at the moment? Please show us how you're doing well at Man United. Please, I really want to know how you're doing at Man United. What makes you think you're doing well at Man United? I want to bring it into a Manchester United level. Let's forget about politics. Bring it into Man United. Please tell me what you're doing great at Man United. What's so great about Man United that we got this tent of a regeneration project that we're going to be doing in the future? I don't want you sitting on TV talking about politics. I want you come and talk about Manchester United. That's not your job to talk about politics. You would know nothing about immigration. You would know nothing about humanity if it bit you in a bloody bony ass, right? You do nothing about it, right? You know nothing about the world and what has happened in the world and the past. You only think about it from one point of view, the Tommy Robson crew. That's what it is at the end of the day, because you're part of that, right? You're part of that, right? Now, let me tell you something, all right? Let me tell you something about my history with football. I used to go to every England game there was. I used to love going to England games at Wembley. I loved it, right? Until England plays Saudi Arabia and people stand up if you hate the P word and it ends with I and people can guess what it is, right? And at the end of the day, I don't want to be hearing about this, right? What I want to know is that please explain to me how on earth you are doing a good job. Please explain to me that. You are basically doing this. You are on desperation tactics. Your desperation is bringing politics into football. Your desperation is getting politically driven bigots to support you so that when some of those bigots were doing protests to go on your side. So people subconsciously think Jim Ratcliffe is doing a very good job. You think we're stupid? You think we're crazy? You think we're mad? You just outed yourself as what you really are. And all the people that support you, what they really are, because we know what you are. You know, I live in the Middle East. I'm English. I live in the Middle East. I was welcomed in the Middle East with open arms. With open arms, just like many British, German, Italian immigrants come here every single year in their droves, welcomed with open arms. No hatred whatsoever about the way I look. You know, nothing whatsoever. He's just basically signed, sealed, delivered. He's death warrant at Manchester United. You know, that's what he's done. He's failing at Man United. He's failing at Man United, and these are desperation tactics. Bringing in politics to Manchester United. What does Manchester United have to do with your politics, your political view? Man United are full of immigrants, mate. Ahmad, Imbremo, Yoro, Delict. These are all immigrants, my son. Lamens. Should we go on about Manchester United, about our team? Casemiro, he's an immigrant. Ugarte, he's an immigrant. Should we keep going on, my son? Mazraoui, he's an immigrant and he's a Muslim. You want that? Yeah, you want. Is this the kind of vibe that you want to bring to Man United? And let me tell you, because I'm focusing on Manchester United at the moment. I'm trying my best not to go into politics because it really irritates me. But what I'm going to say is this, right? You are sending a message to future Manchester United players that this is not the place for you. You are sending a message that you are not welcome at Manchester United, a football club built by the working class and elevated by everyone from four corners of the bloody globe. There are people around the world who built this football club to the stature that it is. You are sabotaging Manchester United. That's what you're doing. You're sabotaging Manchester United. What good does it do for you to talk about your goddamn political beliefs when nobody was thinking about politics? We were thinking about football and transfers and what's going on with Manchester United. You come out with politics to try and get your old pals on side, isn't it? Just like you did to get the job at Manchester United. Just like you did to get the vanity project at Man United. This is exactly what you did in the first place. And the minions fell for it. Pathetic. Honest to God. Guys, thank you, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. Up everyone is blessed, guys. Hope everyone is good. Good to see everyone in the house. Hope you're doing well, guys. Good morning, Sanjay. Hope you're doing good. Big up yourself. Yo, Rasta, what's going on? Yo, Sal, I'm an immigrant. Absolutely. This guy, man, Qatar should owe this club. They should do, yes. With this kind of ownership, Jude, what's going on, my guy? This kind of ownership, we can't rise again. I agree. Who on earth is going to want to come to Manchester United now? Please tell me, if people look at that interview, and they see him talking about like that, who on earth is going to want to come to Man United? Be real, guys, here. What does those comments do for Manchester United? Forget about what he believes. Forget about what Tom, Dick and Harry believe. What what does that do for Manchester United? Please tell me. Explain to me. What good does what he say have to do to Manchester United? What good that Jim Ratcliffe said does for Man? What does it do good for Man United? What does he? I mean, come on. Please explain to me. I'm baffled how this improves Man United. How does this make Man United better? How? Talking about politics and a very sensitive topic. I know what you're doing, and you don't need to paint it out for me. I know that you're trying to manipulate a certain section of people to side with you because you're being protested against. That's why you're doing it. That's why you've gone to desperation mode in mentioning politics. You know, that's what you've done. That's the final result. I'm going to mention politics so that those people can come on my side. And then subconsciously, they're going to be like, oh, Jim, he's not a bad fella. You know, he believes in what I believe in. So I'm gonna stick with Jim Ratcliffe, and you know what? He's owning the club. He's all right. He's doing all right for the football club, isn't he? Even though he spent 500 million on managers that haven't worked, he's doing all right for the club, isn't he? Yeah, he believes in what I believe in, so I'm gonna believe. And that, you know, the dumbed down IQ of people. You know what I mean? And you're gonna get that. You know what I mean? And this is what it is. The drama around United is shocking, and we know who talks it. And Gregory, politics and sports should not mix. Football is a great unifier. Let me tell you about football. Football brings people together. This is why football should not be in Donald Trump country, because at the end of the day, Donald Trump doesn't want to put people from Brazil to come and watch the World Cup. You know, football is the great unifier. Right? And it's a time when we watch football, it's a time we forget about our differences. We forget about our race. We forget about our religion and beliefs. And we all follow one common goal. So whoever we support, we all follow a common goal. That's what we do. In this case, Manchester United. And all I care about right now, coming out of Jim Ratcliffe's mouth, is Manchester United. What's your plans for Manchester United? What's your January window? What happened with that? What happened with Ruben Amorim? What went on there then? Why haven't you spoke about that? That's what I want to know. I don't want to know about your political feelings about you 77-year-old bigot. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to hear about your beliefs, because I know that you're stuck in the 1930s. I know you are. So I don't really want to hear hatred coming out of a hateful person's mouth. I don't want to hear hatred. I'm fed up with division. I'm fed up with normalizing sinister motives that keep occurring every single day, you know, in the UK especially, by people like him. You know, liars, manipulators. It's unbelievable. Glazers out, Ineos out, Galenios out, absolutely. Absolutely. I only posted that one time, no problem. Show us where you're doing a good job. We are in a stupid debt. Big up, Daryl. No squad depth, no money put in the club. Sacking managers and staff left, right, and centre. Out with your brothers, the Glazers, wankers, mate. Absolutely. Show us, please show me how you're doing a good job. And you know what? If I was on that interview, I'd say, oh, you're doing a good job, Jim. Are you? Should we take it back? Should we scroll it back? Let's talk about the lies you made about Qatar. Let's talk about how you said out of your own mouth that Sheikh Jassim Hamid didn't exist. Shall we talk about that? When he obviously does, because he's at the World Cup final, wasn't he? Shall we talk about that? That was right at the beginning, right? Shall we talk about how you've made people with normal jobs or mortgages unemployed? Should we talk about that? Shall we talk about how you employed Ashwood and sacked him 3 months later? You spent weeks and weeks getting Ashwood and you sacked him a few months later. Should we talk about Eric Ten Hag, who you gave a new contract and spent 200 million in the summer and sacked him a few months later? Should we do that? Or should we go on about Ruben Amorim, who was a talented manager who you bought in with a distinctive style of playing and didn't back him with a distinctive style of players? Should we talk about that? And you sacked him and cost another bunch of millions, didn't you? That's good, isn't it? You know, that's really good. Should we talk about how you haven't backed Michael Carrick in this January transfer window? You haven't brought in a midfielder, and we are one injury away from capitulation, guys. You know, shall we talk about that? Or is that too much of a sensitive subject for you to talk about? You should have just stepped aside and you should just let Qatar take over the football club. Apple, Amazon, whoever was going to buy the football club fully. I don't care. Get rid of the Glazers, get rid of the debt, and we carry on. You know? But no. We're gonna run to the wrong. We're gonna walk to the right destination, run to the wrong destination. That's your own quote, isn't it? Really? And then you're building a stadium, meaning that running to the wrong destination. The contradictions are rife. Tyborg, it doesn't what your political stance is. To bring it into football is just a primitive and pure manipulation. Thank you, Tyborg. Exactly that. And I think people need to wake up to that, guys. People need to wake up for that stance. All right, what Tyborg is saying right there, because he's absolutely factual, guys. Now, my last tweet said this, right? Jim Ratcliffe is trying to manipulate a large number of politically driven people to side with him because he's failing at Manchester United and being protested against. He knows how people feel about certain views. He knows that what caliber of people would side with him too. And these people already have. It's tactical manipulation. A diversion, so people will say, oh, he believes in this, so he's a good United owner and doing well. Wake up. He's a scumbag and ultimately bad for Manchester United. And I think that this is what it all boils down to. This has nothing to do with football. This has nothing to do with football. This is a manipulation tactic so we can get you on side. Especially in failure, that's what he's doing. Exactly, Rasta Stock. The good results lately are not because of Jim and Joe, it's despite them. Exactly that. I think people need to remember this, that the results that are coming our way, which have been going on for a few weeks, by the way, we haven't lost in 2026, by the way. The results that are coming our way is not because of Carrick or Ruben Amram. It's not because of the ownership. It's because of Carrick and Amram. It's in spite of the ownership. And that's what I would say. It's in spite of the ownership. They're doing this in spite of the ownership. They're succeeding in spite. You think that leaving Man United threadbare in that midfield is helping Carrick? Did it help Ruben Amram? Of course it didn't. They're actually hampering Manchester United. They're hurting Manchester United. My opinion is Jim Ratcliffe needs to leave the football club. He needs to sell his shares and he needs to leave. That's what he needs to do. And the Glazers can go with him. They need to leave this football club because you are creating a civil war within the Manchester United fan base. Right? You are creating toxicity by manipulating the Manchester United fan base. This Man United fan base didn't used to be like this. I didn't used to see so many bigots in the Man United fan base. I didn't used to see so many of them. You've manipulated them. You're twisting them. Maybe they're weak. I don't know. But you are twisting them. You know? You don't like the protest. This is your answer. Bring politics into it. Jim Ratcliffe is simply running this club heritage and ruining the club's heritage and reputation. Absolutely, Kenny. And this is exactly what I'm saying. All in all, ultimately, I'm not a bloody politician, guys. Right? I'm not a politician. Right? But one thing I am, right, is I'm a humanitarian. I will tell you about things, right? If I was a footballer around the world and I was playing for any club around the world and Manchester United were linked with me, right? And I heard that from the Man United co-owner, right? I would not want to go to Man United. That is what it is, you know? United got more fans in Africa than any other club. Apparently, the fans in Africa, and that, I mean, look, guys, listen. Let me just say something about it, right? When people talk like Jim Ratcliffe has spoken, you can't tell me that, you know, he's not a sinister person. Because at the end of the day, are the only type of people who talk like that, and I know what they are, you know? Big up LT, how you doing? Big up Sal. Jim just showed that he's a xenophobic prat and he's talking about being in tough decisions which are making the club better. And he's actually said there's progress after this shit show. Goodness me. I mean, if that's progress, I hate to say what he does when he fails. Not every word that pops into someone's head needs to be spoken out loud. When in doubt, those in public, I would be better off saying nothing at all. And I think this is very, very right, Gregory. I think it's very right. Whatever your political beliefs, whatever you believe about the UK, and I've lived in the UK all my life, right? I lived in London all my life. I'm from the East End of London, Whipscotch Hospital, right? Whatever people think in politically, right? Just keep it to yourself. You know what I was always taught in life in general by my dad, right? I was always taught that if it's not kind, don't say it. If it's not kind, don't say it. He used to tell me, don't push people into a corner. Don't push people into the corner because they have no choice but to bite back. He said, it's horrible when you push people into the corner because we're all human beings, right? And if you push them into the corner and you're hitting them with a stick, it's the worst thing that you could possibly do, you know? So the first thing you should always think about, and the most important thing in life in general, let me tell you something about the thing I've learned in this life, what I've learned. Humans prosper with kindness. Humans win. Humans win with kindness. Humans win with giving. Nobody owns this world. You did not make water. You did not make fire. Right? At the end of the day. We can go on and on about my country's colonial history, can't we? You know, we can go on and on about that. But this is a football channel, of course. And I don't really want to. So Jim needs to go for saying what he say about the country is disgusting. Absolutely. Caffeine, big up Gregory. Have your caffeine, my guy. Half of the players want him to apologize. He's a fucking. I mean, I think the Man United players should come out. I think they should come out, you know, and start talking about and the demand of apology from Jim Ratcliffe. That's what I think they should do. He's the biggest hypocrite when he dodges taxes for English Cup. Yep, absolutely. The fact is that he doesn't talk about his old pals, the Glazers, isn't it? You know, he doesn't talk about them, does he? Who are milking the UK. He doesn't talk about them, and they're Jewish Americans. They're immigrants who come to America and purchase Manchester United. You know, and they're squeezing out of the UK at the moment. They're not putting a penny in it. They're taking, but they're not putting a penny in it. Morning, my friend United for Life is. Morning, Sal. The rat is a liar and a manipulator. He is bringing a division to the club. There is no positive fruits that he could show. He is failing his own people. The owners must get out ASAP. Absolutely. Couldn't say it any better, my guy. This is a distraction, mate. Forge from the Epstein files. Could be. Yeah. I don't want to get into that, though. Not on this channel. Absolutely. Morning, Sal. Hope you and your family are well. Big up the man, then. Would we really say we are shocked? Would Jim say anything like this? He made a deal with the Glazers to keep. He'd never make a deal with the devil to keep. He'd even make a deal with the devil. He would. Big up, Mark. How you doing, my friend? Big up, my bro. Mark, the get Ineos and Glazer. Absolutely. ASAP. Agree with that, my friend. Manchester and Manchester United were built by immigrants, absolutely. The working class and elevated by immigrants, yeah. 76 people on 26 likes. Thank you, Mandem. Let's get the likes up, people, to a minimum 50 likes and kindly subscribe if you're new. Thank you so much, Mandem. Really appreciate you, my friend. Thank you so much. Yeah, guys, don't forget to smash a like on the video if we could possibly do that. Of course, stupid for him to say that since we had to wait for the African players to return so that we can actually play well. Big up, Mandem. Spot on. I know you don't want to get into it, bro, but the Glazers, I don't want to get into it because at the end of the day, I don't want people like suing the channel. Do you know what I mean, Mark? And that's what it is at the end of the day. I know Wagwan. I was in the music industry 20 years. You know what I mean? I know what these people are. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, and these guys are disgusting people, and I hope they're put to justice. I really do. You know. Lewis Rocker, who played an integral role. It's funny I said you said Rocker, reverse them, because Rocker, I was talking about a player called Rocker yesterday. Early Manchester United was a child of Italian immigrants. I bet the rat doesn't even have a clue who he was. He won't have a clue, mate. He wouldn't have a clue about that, mate. He wouldn't. I'm married to an Italian. I got an Asian dad and a white mother, right? But when people talk about these things, they put, as I said, what they're doing is they're putting people into a corner. And that's what they're doing. He's a disgrace. I heard that his company lost a lot of money, so he's trying to kiss ass to the potential PM so that the business doesn't get affected more. Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister of England, has demanded an apology from Jim Ratcliffe. There you go. Every time he talks, he exposes himself as an incompetent owner and knows nothing. And going into politics, political just shows his lack of knowledge that sport unifies and doesn't entertain politics. Exactly. This is exactly what you got to understand. He's dividing people here. He's dividing people. He's manipulating people to go on side because he's losing at Man United. He's failing at Man United. He knows he's failing, and he's got an ego. He's a narcissist, and he can't admit that he's failing at Man United. You know. Mark, this is why it stings so much. There has been no justice. Everyone can have the MUFC situation explained to them and leave with a bad taste in their mouth. It's a sham and a shame what is going on. Exactly. Couldn't say it any better, my friend. Morning, Sal. Drama. This is Manchester United. This could ruin the rest of the season. I mean, exactly that. Exactly that. What you're saying there, Ragnar, my friend. What is this going to do to the Man United players? Who are the majority are not English. You know, so what is this going to do to the majority of the players for the rest of the season in the next 12 games? Is this going to help them? Is this going to help the Man United players? Oh, I want to play for Man United. Is this what, I mean, he's just the worst thing to happen. You know what I mean? At least the Glazers didn't even say shit like that. They just kept quiet and disappeared. Yeah, the Rat is mates with Farage now, so no surprise with that. Absolutely. Rat is dragging the name of Manchester United through the effing mud. I agree with Revert 7 there. Spot on. United Mandem, that's why we said that the people that said they wanted to be owned by a Brit had a Klansman agenda. Exactly. We knew the Qatari and Saudi Dons were the way to go for us to improve, yet they glazed that rat, man. They did because they thought, oh, virtual signaling, human rights. Lies, 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 lies. Jassim Hamid doesn't exist. Lies, 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 lies. Keep the lies coming. Keep the lies coming. Come on. That's the only way you would have won because you lied your way through it. Manipulation tactics, pay people for false documentation, all that nonsense, of course. Jim Ratcliffe knows nothing. He knows about hate. He knows about division. He knows how to divide and conquer. This is exactly what he's doing, guys. Divide and conquer tactics. This is what he's doing. He's dividing the fan base because certain parts of the fan base have certain political beliefs, and he's dividing the fan base into sections so he can divide and conquer. Wake up, wake up, wake up, Man United fans. Wake up. This is what you need to understand. It's a typical political agenda. This is what they do. I'll say my thoughts about this on your channel is gone and I'm in jail. Yeah, me too. I know, me too. Ephraim, Sal, it's dangerous when our owners say we are going for a good job when he do not have any clue about United. Absolutely. Big up, Sal. Bye. Big up, brother. How you doing, Rajesh? Good to see you. Also, in hindsight, we can see that even when he said put the Manchester back in Manchester, it sounds like Trump's exactly. Make Man United, make America great again. It's basically that, isn't it? It's basically that. Absolutely. Marcus, morning, Sal. Just when you think of Ratcliffe couldn't make any worse, he makes these idiotic comments. I swear he got to go. Spot on, brother. This is what elite billionaires divide and conquer to keep the stat. Exactly, this is what they're doing. And people are falling for that. It's exactly what they do with India. You know, this is what they do. Oh, India's too big, it's too powerful. Let's divide them. East Pakistan, West Pakistan, let's do that. Not going to get into politics, but you know what it is. Anyway, guys, I just want to talk about a couple of more things, if you don't mind. Carlos Baleba, Manchester United, of course. Carlos Baleba, I believe, was substituted after, was it 20 minutes yesterday? Carlos Baleba was substituted after 20 minutes again. Another very, very poor performance of Carlos Baleba. No assists, no goals, nothing. He's having a terrible season, is Carlos Baleba. And obviously, Man United have to be very, very careful what they do with Carlos Baleba. Again, another stinking performance, you know, at the end of the day. And Man United need to move on from that. I think Man United, it sounds very distasteful for me to talk about transfers at the moment. I just feel a little bit awkward, you know. At the end of the day, again, being pushed into a corner, you know, that's how you feel, you know. But, you know, what I would say is this, right? Yeah, Carlos Baleba, Manchester United, I don't think it's going to work out. I mean, he's not doing well. Again, he was substituted after 20 minutes, and I just don't think it's good for Manchester United at the end of the day. You know, I don't think he's good, you know, for Man United. He's just not performing for Brighton, and I don't think Man United should be spending the money on him. Again, 20 minutes, he was hooked off, right, for Brighton. He's doing awful. He's not even doing bad. He's not even doing bad. He's doing awful. You know, we are a top 2 club. Other team are playing bad. Yeah, probably, my friend. Mandem, you are spot on, Sal. There are top Reds that believe in this, so he'll get people that will back his nonsense, causing a division since most people won't agree with this. He's causing a division in Man United. Let me just warn Man United fans, the lovely people of Manchester. Let me just say that the people who welcomed me to be a Manchester United fan, right? The people that I know in Manchester, right? Which includes ex-players as well. What I want you guys to understand, right, is he's manipulating you. He's dividing and conquering. That's what he's doing. He wants to divide the Man United fan base so he can win section by section on his side. That's what he's doing. And you need to wake up to this, my friends and family. You need to wake up to this nonsense because it's exactly what he's doing. Mark, good morning, Mark. How you doing? Why would Baleba want to come to this club anyway after hearing it? I don't think anyone, Mark, would want to come to Man United if they heard that, would you? I certainly wouldn't. If I heard that from the owner, co-owner of Manchester United, which probably is shared by the Glazers as well, I wouldn't want to come to Manchester United either. I wouldn't want to do that either, you know? Samban, we can get to Nali. We have a chance. We have a chance. I'm not a Baleba, not anymore. No. Hooked after 22 minutes last night. Madness, isn't it, guys? Real madness. Absolutely. Mandem, Manchester United is a club itself should be put on a statement and distance themselves from the nonsense. Everyone from manager to players and staff should call it out, even though it's a part. Manchester United should go and strike. Man United players should go and strike. Man United should refuse to play for the football club with those comments right there. That's what Man United should do. I'm being honest. Refuse to play for the football club until Jim Ratcliffe leaves this football club. Check it out on Twitter, my guy. Check it out on Twitter, my friend. Have a look. It's mad. It's mad, Snap Me. Big up, Snap Me. 1 or 2 injuries away from disaster, and the board haven't equipped the team ready if it was to happen. Exactly. Man United are probably 1 injury, Chrissy, from disaster. When you think about the midfield, if Casemiro gets injured, Man United are in a big, big problem. Man United are in trouble. You know, if Casemiro gets injured, we got nobody else. We just got Ugarte, and Ugarte's up in the air. Me personally, a person who grew up in the 70s wouldn't want to come to a club hearing those views of chairman. Me personally, not either, Mark. Not me either. You know how much discrimination I've had to suffer my whole life? You know how much discrimination? My mum being white, my dad being Asian. You know, I've got relatives from all sides of the spectrum, from Jewish to Muslim to Christian in my family, right? If people don't know what I came from, you know, being raised in the East End of London and suffering this sort of thing my whole life, every time I hear things like this, it annoys me because I love my country. I love England. I love Britain. Don't get me wrong. I love being raised in England and being English. I love supporting England in the World Cup. I'm English. But the discrimination that we suffer, you know, because we've got immigrants as a father or as an auntie or a cousin or this and that, you know, as I said, it's the key word here, being pushed into a corner. You know, being pushed into a corner, you know? It's ridiculous. Football is the great, as I said, football's the great unifier from around the world. Football should unite people together. That we talk about football. We banter about football. It's, you know, look at social media. Look at everything around football. It brings people together. Whether we agree or we disagree, it brings people together. That's what football's supposed to do. You have to be very careful when you see people who apparently love Man United, by the way, talking to divide the Man United fan base. Dividing and conquering. Just because he's losing. Just because he's failing at Man United. Mandem, Baleba has been so inconsistent. I really don't want him at the club. He's just move on and go for another top targets. I have to say that, yeah. So I'm gutted Liverpool won yesterday. Again, yeah. I mean, it's been an awful week, hasn't it? It's been awful, man. And this doubles down what I was saying, guys. This is why Manchester United needed to win against West Ham. You know, I said it. People are saying, oh, it's a good result. Oh, don't worry, it's a good result. We drew, it's a good result. West Ham are fighting for their lives. Man United had an opportunity to beat West Ham. West Ham is shit. Man United had an opportunity to beat West Ham. And this is why I was fed up. This is why I'm fed up with that result. I was tired of that result because it's typical Man United. We have an opportunity. We had an opportunity to go clear. To go clear 8 points. So we wouldn't mind it what Liverpool did. You know? But we failed. Jim and Glazer don't pay anything. Precisely, mate. They're tax avoiders. Hypocrites. I don't think anyone is going to protest from our squad. Maybe the fans might. I think I don't know. It depends. It depends how the players feel about that comment. It's a very horrible comment. Ratcliffe has Manchester United as prime news worldwide for all the wrong reason. Exactly. Everyone, Mark, is going to see these comments. Players who don't even play for Man United, who've been linked to Man United, what they're going to think. LT, I'm sure this season has been the most sackings. Come to think of it, that shows how unusual this season is. Yeah, I think Thomas Frank got sacked. About time, to be honest with you. Sal, Jim needs to go. He is bad to our image. He's destroying Man United's legacy. Man United used to be one of the most respected football clubs in the world. I don't think we are that anymore. I'll be honest with you, the way things are going. Snap me. By the way, we can't have Tonali. We can have Tonali, but that's going to be in the summer. Snap me. It depends on Manchester United qualifying for the Champions League. That's what it all depends on. Now, this is exactly why such mistimed comments and misinformed comments, by the way, are the wrong thing for Manchester United. These are the wrong thing for Man United, because at the end of the day, when you're a player like Tonali and your players, other players are from around the world, and you're seeing those comments, you're thinking, oh, whether you believe in them or you agree with them comments, you're going to think, nah, Man United is a bad place. And you're going to think that, isn't it? And anyone who can potentially sign for Man United, you're going to think, oh, Man United's a bad place. I'm not going anywhere near Man United. Do you know what I mean? He's talking about immigration, yet there's a lot of UK nationals across Europe, Africa, and Asia. Doesn't he know that? He doesn't care. This is the thing, though, isn't it? This is the thing. And then I make up a whole load of lies about immigrants, and it's not good. Manchester United have been colonized since 2005, exactly, by the Glazers, exactly. How did we get this out of doing anything like that? How do we get this clown out if he's doing things like this? I mean, hopefully he gets pushed out. I mean, the Prime Minister has already called out his name, Keir Starmer. He's already called him out, said he has to apologize. Damn, so United can only buy English players, so we're going to sell the foreign players. Exactly that, stat me. He's got to go through with it. So the Rat Man is speaking about what he really feels when he sees the likes of Ahmad and Bremer playing for us. He is, yeah. Rat is a massive hypocrite, says Vert 7. Mount, what's going on, my guy? Muna. I don't think he was talking about immigrants in general. That would be insane. I think he was talking about those who don't want to pay taxes. But what does this have to do with football and Manchester United, Muna? What does it have to do with Man United? Please tell me. What does this have to do with Manchester United? Leave that for Nigel Farage. Don't talk. What are you talking about? All you are doing is subconsciously turning people against Manchester United. All you are doing is creating hysteria. Because look, Mona, what has it caused? What's it called? Factually, what has those comments caused? People are not going to look at the ins and outs. They're going to look at it from their point of view. Yes, Jim, he said it. Who's backing him? Tommy Robinson. People like that are backing him. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? What does Thomas Robinson believe in? What does he believe in? Let's separate the wood from the trees. Let's not try and sugarcoat this. Let's not sugarcoat this turd. Let's not do this. Because at the end of the day, he knows what he's doing. He knows the manipulation that he's doing. And he knows the people that are going to support him. Right? People who talk like that, who own a football club, only know one way. And that's a hateful way. And that's what it is. And he needs to leave Man United. He's a big hypocrite. Absolutely. Revert 7. He knows what he meant. Exactly. He knows what he meant. Absolutely. I know there was something shady about Ratcliffe. Just look at him. Bloody shit. Do you remember when Jim Ratcliffe walked into Man United when he was going to buy the football club partially? And you remember his face, he looked like he swallowed a lemon. You know, he didn't look happy. He didn't look joyous. And when the representatives of Qatar came, they were in suits, suited and booted, ready to go for looking like people who want to buy a football club, you know? He's talking about his country. He don't represent my country. No, not at all. People like Jim divided the whole world, India. And what does that have to do with Man United, by the way? I don't know. Pat fighting to this day. Israel, Palestine fighting to this day. Exactly. I know, man. I know. He is not right, Bobs. He has no clue about politics. Sal, United is a global club. United is a global club with millions of fans across Asia and Africa. How he can say something like that, even from a business point of view, he's foolish. What is this old geezer thinking? Exactly. Now, let me tell you something, Bob. I know you want to bring in politics to it, but this is not about politics. I want to ask you, what does this have to do with Manchester United? Where was his January transfer window? That's what I want to know. I want him to talk about Amorim. I want him to talk about Tonali. I want him to talk about Baleba. That's what I want him to talk about. I don't want him to talk about fake news, right? That has been manipulated by racists, right? I don't want him to talk about that, right? Because we can easily go and flip that to one side. I want him to talk about football. Football. Manchester United Football Club. He should keep his mouth shut. He's doing a bad job. Failure at Manchester United. What the political side of things is happening right now, and whatever bad is happening in the world is bad, right? But let's not go there, because you know what? I know who this world is owned by, and I know the manipulation in the media, and I know what's going on, right? So let's not do that, all right? Let's not these Jimmy Savile loving people, all right? Viz, what would we do if Carrick walked out from seeing this disgusting club? I mean, I don't know, mate. They will fail, probably. These players bottled another chance to solidify top four. That was a reality check, reminding us. Yeah, I mean, the game against West Ham really disappointed me. Really disappointed me. And I look at, and this is why I didn't overreact after the West Ham game, but I did get angry after the West Ham game, I have to admit, because it was a big opportunity for Man United to win and to solidify that fourth place. And we failed. And I honestly felt that West Ham there for the taking, you know? West Ham were there for the taking, and we failed with that, absolutely. Bob, yes, I am English. My great-grandmother has an OBE from the Queen. By the way, how many OBEs do you know? You've spoken to one who has one in his family. There you go. I work for a blue chip company, and trust me, if the chairman would say anything like this, he'd put on the gardening leave within hours and be sacked. Yes, if I said something like this, guys, at St. George's Hospital, St. George's, by the way, hospital, which I worked for 5 years, I will be sacked. I would be gone, you know? He says stuff like this because he doesn't care about United. If he cared about United, he would keep the interest of United above all. I mean, I want to see an owner come into Man United, to the club I love. Right? I want to see an owner. Forget politics. The political side is so difficult. It's very hard to talk about politics, because politics is a bit like religion. Some people, right, they will believe what they believe, even though they're told something that's factual, even though there's evidence supplied in front of them, they will still believe what they believe. That's politics. Right? So I tend not to stay away from politics. I love the Man United community. I love my Man United community, whether you agree or disagree, and I'm trying to sway away from the political side. But what I want to say is this, guys. What does this have to do with Manchester United? Does this have to do with investing in Manchester United this summer? What does that have to do with Man United? Please tell me. I'm interested to know, you know? He can't talk about both, not when you're owning a club like Man United, whose diversity is what makes us, Bob. Hypocrisy needed, let him resign. He wants to deflect to the fact that he hasn't signed anyone and is failing in Nice, France, and now he's failing in Nice, France, and Lausanne. Absolutely. Absolutely. Guys. 16 likes to 50. Thank you so much. Big up. Tyborg, legend. The fact that the owner of such an asset brings in politics to cover up his own failures is something that shouldn't go without a reaction from the fans and also players. Thus, wasn't a coincidence, guys. Thank you, Tyborg. And Tyborg's a German, by the way, right? And he's let me just tell you about Tyborg's going to come on the show soon, and he's going to tell you about himself, how he supported Man United, and he's going to give you an example of what Man United is all about. You know, the diversity of the fan base around the world, of what Manchester United is truly about. You know. Right, so there you go. So big up John O'Connell. What's going on? So Jim, go now and take the Glazers with you. Absolutely agree with that. Marcus, power is the players' hands. Years ago, NBA players weren't gonna play until Sterling, owner of the Clippers, was made racial remarks on tape. Players should sit out the game. That will get their attention. I agree, mate. I think they should do that. I agree, 100%. I back that. I back it. I back it. You know, at the end of the day, I do. Big up AK, my guy. Big up yourself. Hope you're well, of course. United for life. Football has no room for politics, hate, racism, or personal agendas. Let's bring the world together with the love of the beautiful game. Keep spreading the love, guys. And the life. Come on, my guy. Come on. That's what it's all about. Football is the great unifier, right? The World Cup is going to America, right? And I love America. My grandma's American, all right? Football's going to America. She's from Newport News, Virginia. Can't get any more American than that, right? Football's going to America, right? Yet Brazilians can't go to the World Cup because they can't get visas. Imagine a World Cup without Brazilians. Bring it to a country that deserves it. Take it back to Africa. Take it to places that will love the game and appreciate the game. Take it to Asia. Take it, Middle East. They'll love it more than them. I think even the Glazers didn't say anything like, no, they didn't say, they weren't there because their background, you know. They forced Chelsea owner to sell, but since he's English, they will remain silent. Yeah, it's the sad reality, Trigger Kim, you know. It's the sad reality of our country. That if he was Russian or if he was anything like that, you know, he would not be at the Man United Football Club anymore. He would have been forced to sell the football club, you know. Most of our players are African and South American. Exactly. Johnny, good morning. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. The rat chose to be loud and wrong. Sat in an interview and chose to be racist. Prick. Any player and worker seeing that interview won't want to work for him. Factual facts, mate, my friend. Factual facts. United Choir going, hi, Sal, great to see you. Good to see you as well. Man United feels more commercial and political now. Most talk isn't about football or winning trophies anymore. Exactly. We've gone political now, yeah. Even the Glazers aren't British, so according to Jim, they should go. Exactly, mate. There you go. Factual. Newport News, Virginia, home of Ellen Iverson, Michael Vick, etc. Fair. Thank you, Marcus. Yes, my grandma's from Newport News, Virginia. Yes, that's where she's from. So yeah, I call things subjectively. I call things from a place of non-biased. Do you know what I mean? Non-biased for me. I'm all around that. Mark, Jamaicans can't go to America to watch the World Cup. We've been put on the ban list. Really, Mark? And this moment, Ratcliffe holds the same views as the Trump. It's terrible, man. Honestly, it's terrible. It's terrible. The reggae boys, mate. Like, you know, I mean, this is not football. This is not football. This is not what I was raised on with football. It was all about football and unifying. That's what it was all about, you know. Johnny, also, I think this more needs to be said about the Night 58 group post. I was expecting them to criticize Ratcliffe for the racist comments, but they chose to only talk about the whole Amram and Carrick stuff and season tickets. Yeah. Yeah, they need to be more. I've said it from the beginning, Johnny. You're right. I've said it from the beginning. They need to be more potent. They need to be more aggressive. They need to be more forthwith with what they're saying. And you know what I mean? They're just concentrating on season tickets and things like that and stuff. It's bad enough the Glazers have sucked the life out of this club, but Ratcliffe has just stained the club with a bad political brush. I hear Torek would love being ruined by this club. I think, Bobby, good morning. Bobby Cat, big up. I think Jimmy meant immigrants living off benefits. I know, Bobby. I know. But please explain to me, my guy. What does that have to do with Manchester United? What does that have to do with the January transfer window? What does that do in regards to Man United's reputation around the world? Because people are going to think away. If I'm thinking it, other people are going to think it, right? What does that do? What good does that do for our football club? What good does that do? I get what he's saying. I understand what he's saying. Don't get me wrong. I know what he meant. I don't agree with it, or most of it. But what does that do good for Man United? Nothing is the answer. Jim himself lives in Monaco. Yeah, exactly. He's a hypocrite. You know, what's he doing in Monaco avoiding taxes? Why don't he pay his English taxes? You know, why don't he pay for the NHS that he's going to use one day? Those jackasses never learns racism is expensive, folks. Go and ask America and their tourism sector. Exactly. Exactly. They don't learn. Stat me. Marinakis versus Ratcliffe competing for the title of worst owner. Well. Dan, big up Dan. What's going on? Dancing car. Sorry, dancing car. What's going on? Is your name Dan Sincar or is it Dancing Car? I want to know. What is the one? Well. Who would have thought Jim with a car crash interview? I know. Surprise. I'm waiting for Cilla Black to walk around the corner. Surprise. But even if he meant the ones on benefits, are they technically living off benefits when they use loans and leverage of the club? Facts. Mic drop. Revert 7. Rat is an immigrant in Monaco, so he doesn't have to pay a single penny in King Tut tax. What a hypocrite. Thank you very much, Revert 7. All in all, the hypocrisy is rife here, guys. It's rife. But ultimately, what does this do for Manchester United? Please explain to me. None of these Jim Ratcliffers are telling me. What good does this do for Man United? What does these comments good do for our great football club? Huh? You know? Big up, Revert, my guy. V, are we supposed to wait until that rat clown moves 6 feet under for us to be free of this free at last? I'd probably pass it down to his siblings, mate. I do know that the Glazers are going to pass it down to their siblings. They've done that already with Malcolm Glaze and stuff. Big up, Robert. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. I hope you like the show. It is a passionate show. We're going to speak the truth. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. But my ultimate goal is understanding, right? That's what I want. I want understanding as to what does this do for Manchester United? What good does this do for Man United? And I'm waiting to hear the answer, you know? I have not heard the answer from the Jim supporters yet. Jim is lying. It's not 9 million. I know. He's manipulating. It's what people do to make it sound more, whoa, really, subconsciously. I guess Jim doesn't want Manchester to be so united anymore. No, we might as well call ourselves Manchester Divided because that's what we're going to be. 5 likes come. Ephraim, absolute legends. Please don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to smash a like on the video, guys. Absolutely brilliant. Guys, absolutely. Bobby, if Jim Glazers resign, no, they won't, because at the end of the day, the Glazers needed to sell the football club because they couldn't afford the football club. Jim Ratcliffe gave them a life support machine. Jim Ratcliffe also supported their regeneration project aspirations, and because Jim Ratcliffe is very well connected with the Manchester government, right? So Jim Ratcliffe, if he disappeared, the Glazers would struggle. They were struggling and they were looking for a buyer or an investor. That's what they were looking for. I know that 100% because I've spoken to people in Qatar. I've spoken to people in regards to this. They were ready to sell to the Qataris, but Jim Ratcliffe came on with his vanity project and facilitated the Glazers, gave them mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, life support machine, and all that. Ratcliffe once again hijacked the narrative. We're talking about everything other than football. I'm trying to keep it on a football level. Like, this is what I'm saying. What does this have to do for Manchester United? What does this have to do for Man United, you know? Man United are honestly cursed. Every time things start to get calm, another scandal pops up anyway. It's who we're owned by, mate. We're owned by devils, so we're going to get devils. So what's going to happen? You know? If we're owned by devils, what's going to happen? You're surrounded by fire, you're going to get burned. And that's exactly what it is at the moment. Johnny, that put the Manchester back in Manchester United comment made me at the beginning of his tenure look more and more suspect now. I knew it back then. Why are you saying that for? What does that got to do with anything? This is exactly what I said at the time. I said, what does that got to do with anything? Our club was built from working class people and elevated by immigrants. Yes. Generally, wouldn't be surprised if Sir Jim Ratcliffe stepped in and stopped the Qatar bid just because of his hate for people who are not white. Yep, could be. 20 plus years, Man U are the biggest tool in the world football, being used like a side chick at this stage. Even our legacy value is almost non-existent, drained by these clowns sitting above. I agree with you, V. Absolutely spot on. I can't disagree. It's the debate. I can't disagree with the majority of people here. I can't disagree. I think every single person has a valid point here. And I think we have to look at this seriously because this is about the future of our football club. You know, this is about our reputation that we spent decades, 100 years building, over 100 years building, by the way. He is ruining it. That's what he's doing. He's ruining our reputation. You know, When we go for all our charity events, for example, going to South Africa like we used to do and places like that, what are people going to think about Manchester United now? We used to be such a divisive club that, you know, it was accepting to absolutely everyone. Now we're slowly but surely becoming the Millwall of the Premier League. That's what we're becoming. The Millwall of the Premier League. Man United are becoming the Millwall of the Premier League. You know? AK, from day one, I knew Jim can't do anything for us. We all knew. I think many of us knew. You know, and he's the thing is, the key aspect here is that he's failing as a Manchester United co-owner and the Glazers, right? He is failing. Everything he is doing has failed, right? This is factual. Ultimately, what he's doing now is defensive tactics to manipulate a certain section of highly politically motivated people who support Man United to go on side with Jim. And many of those people support 1958 and things like that. So what he's doing, he will manipulate those people to take them away and support him. Some of them, right? And that is what he's trying to do. This is exactly what he's trying to do, guys. Absolutely. Dennis Walker is a name that should be held up on a banner at the next home game so Ratcliffe can see the history of this great club. Thank you so much, Mark. Absolutely. All the fans around the world know about our club. Yeah. And he's ruining the reputation. He really is. He's ruining the reputation of this football club. Guys, I want to thank everyone for this very passionate show. Thank you. It's not the type of subjects I like to be talking about. I don't like talking about these things. I just want to bring it into football. I want to talk about football. That's all I ever wanted to do. But I want to bring in something a little bit more lighthearted, guys, if you don't mind. If I can bring this in for you guys right now. I want to bring in this, right? This from West Ham United, right? So West Ham, basically, obviously, you got a draw against Man United the other night, okay? So they got a draw against Man United. So this is what they posted. They done this haircut little gimmick to try and banter Manchester United. Let me just tell you something, West Ham United. You are getting relegated. We are fighting for the Champions League. We are fighting for the Champions League. You are getting relegated. Stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. You are getting relegated. We are going for the Champions League. You are going to the Championship. Right? You got there almost. Champions League chip. Right? You are going to the Championship. Stay in your lane, West Ham United, you absolute frauds. You stay in your lane. Don't talk about Man United because at the end of the day, you will be playing flipping Leyton Orient next season. That's what you're going to be doing. Absolutely. And you could that will be your derby next season. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, absolute clownerism. Absolute clown. They thought that was funny. They thought they had something there, but they're going to be shut down. They're going to be schooled. Of course they are. That's what they're going to be. Absolute idiots, honest to God. They do really, I mean, you do really surprise you with some of these people. How can anyone think about that? A team in a relegation zone. A team in a relegation zone. For goodness sake, talking like that, talking that smack. And they got to concentrate on a relegation battle. Unreal, guys. It's really unreal. Absolutely unreal. You know, it really is. Big up, guys. Later on, I will be on Mo's channel. Not Mo's. I'll be on Don Hussam's channel later on, guys. Don't forget to join me on there. I will be on there regularly. Don't forget to join me on there, guys. It'd be absolutely fabulous. Smash a like on that video as well. Show some love to your boy Sal on that video on Don Hussam's channel, guys. If you guys can do that, absolutely brilliant. Big up Ephraim, my guy. Kevin, hello, Sal. Hope we beat Everton next, bro. Hope so, brother. I really do hope so. Of course. Absolutely. Big up Richard. What's going on, my guy? Let's be honest. Billionaires are bastards. Just look at the Epstein files. Jimmy comments make me feel sick. And he needs to resign this morning. Factual, my guy. Factual. I can't say any more facts than that, my guy. Absolutely. LT, why couldn't he talk about their planning for the new manager and how they plan to improve this squad in the summer? Exactly. More priorities, isn't it? Instead of diverting to politics because he knows he has no plans for Man United. Thank you, my guy. Thank you. West Ham fans are crazy, close to EFL and still not humble. Ridiculous, mate. They're going to enjoy the Championship and we'll enjoy the Champions League. That's what we're going to enjoy. They can enjoy the Championship. We're going to enjoy the Champions League. Fellas, thank you so much, guys. You're absolute legends. Don't forget to smash a like on the video if you guys can do that for me. I really appreciate you. Passionate show. We move on from it. We concentrate on the games coming up. But we know what Jim Ratcliffe stands for. We know what Ineos stands for. And we know what the Glazers stands for. Ineos out, Glazers out, United is broken, and Ineos. Jim Ratcliffe out, Jim Ratcliffe out, Ratcliffe out, whatever you want to say, hashtag. Keep them potent on your timelines on Twitter, on, everywhere, right? Keep that energy because they are trying to destroy our football club. Okay, guys? Have a great day. I'll see you later on, guys. I'll be on Don Hussam's channel again, guys. Go to that channel right now. I'll put the link. Go to that channel right now and smash the like on that channel and write some comments. Lovely comments for Sal. Yeah? Big up your size. Take it easy, guys.